G'day everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Good, Bad and Ugly for the prelim final week of the 2023 AFL Final Series. What a weekend of football it was. We saw Friday night the Giants go down very bravely, but the Pies finally getting the monkey off the back, winning by a point, moving to the grand final, and then yes, of course, the Lions getting the job done over the Blues to now advance through to the grand final. Let's be honest, probably two of the most deserving teams have made the grand final, so it's going to be an awesome spectacle heading into next week. But of course, let's review the two games as we always like to do. Talk footy on the channel. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you do go on to enjoy today's video. And let's get into it. So the first prelim final on Friday night, we saw the Maggies get it done by 1 point over the Giants. A low-scoring, scrappy affair. A really even game of football this was. And yeah, just a brilliant game to watch. And yeah, great win for Collingwood. I felt whoever would have won this game would have been the true deserving winners. And I feel like Collingwood again win the game off not only just the crowd getting behind them, but just relentless 1%ers, relentless attack on the footy. And I just love their hunt and their passion whenever the ball's at the deck. I felt defensively they were very strong as the game wore on. And yeah, they were able just to hold out a very plucky Giants side in the end. And it was a really, as I said, a really even game of football, this one. Both teams really had their share of the dominance. We all knew that Collingwood would start strong in finals, and they sure did. They were able to get a quick start to this game, kicking the first two goals. 𝐓𝐻𝐿𝐴 able to kick that set shot. 𝐓𝐻𝐿𝐴, I felt, had a really good game. He was able to take some important contested clunks. Always known for that, but that's a shame. He's going to be out for the grand final, but in this game, it was huge. Jack Crisp, always a great finals player, goal out of the stoppage. But yeah, after that second goal, you could tell that the Giants were starting to, edge themselves back into this game. They've always been good at that, the Giants, I think, this final series. They might concede the first goal or the second, but they just always just stay in the hunt. And honestly, I think it was a credit to GWS how they were just able to, withstand that early wave of Collingwood pressure. They were really bringing the heat. Like, that first quarter was the most intense quarter I think I've seen of an AFL game. It was just relentless from both teams. Massive bumps, big tackles, a lot of stoppages. But yeah, the Giants were just looking quite good as a defensive half. They had a few opportunities inside 50. They couldn't convert those 0 goals 3. They had a poor start. They had some very gettable chances. And yeah, as that second term wore on, we started to see some goals. Toby Green, great goal from 50 metres out. Tom Green's game was superb. It really was. I think throughout all 4 quarters, he was really consistent. I felt he would be the difference maker for the Giants if they were to get up. And look, I felt like it was a bit of a nuisance for the Pies midfield. He was just able to really possess his strong body, and he's just clean stuff in the stoppage. He had some great moments, and obviously kicked that lovely set shot to put them in front. And yeah, they were able to kick a few goals unanswered, 4 goals unanswered. Isaac Cumming with a nice set shot too. And of course, Jake Riccardi on the end of one out the back. But yeah, just with a lot of those stoppages and a lot of those ground balls, the Giants were just able to really break free of that Collingwood pressure, get it forward to the right targets. In that second term, efficiency was everything. They were picking apart their targets inside 50 really nicely, and they were able to rebound really well too. That was something that they were unable to do at the start of the game, but as the game wore on, we could start to see them, just not only look a lot more stronger defensively, but just, play the game a lot more on their terms. They started to rack up the possessions a little bit more, rebounded well, and yeah, around the footy, I think, especially that second term, really tough. And then, yeah, the third quarter, Toby Green again getting the Giants on the board early in the third quarter. And then, yeah, as I was saying when I was streaming this game, I'm still expecting the Pies to maybe flick that switch, and all of a sudden the game gets back to a bit of a margin. And they were able to kick 5 goals in the third quarter to put them in front at 3-quarter time. They were just able to really turn things around with just how they move the footy. I think, again, like, just that home crowd gives them so much momentum. And as soon as they just kick that goal to give them a glimmer of hope, we were starting to see them just with how they're able to kick goals, just really strong off the intercept. They're always a great side. You saw Darcy Moore and Quaynor really start to get their hands on the football. They transition it quickly through the corridor. That's sometimes where the Giants were a little bit weak. They conceded a little bit off that. But yeah, they had a little bit of slip-ups in defence, able to make them pay with some quick movement and just bashing and crashing the ball forward. Jamie Elliott with that set shot. Beau McCreary front and centre was a beauty. And then, yeah, 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐴 was second and third term was a bit injured, but he took that strong mark, converted the set shot. And yeah, the Giants had a few chances to go back in front before 3-quarter time. They had a few misses and were set up for a beauty in the fourth quarter. Collingwood leading by 4 points, and we started to see a lot more stoppages. The game seemed to slow down a bit, but both clubs are really taking it on still. Daniel Lloyd kicking the first goal of the final quarter to tie things up, and then yeah, Mason Cox, you know, this is why you have Mason Cox in the Collingwood outfit, Collingwood side. He's just able to have those moments. He was due for a mark and it finally came. He kicked the goal, he gave it to Sam Taylor, who's rarely beaten one-on-one. He had a few one-on-one losses, which is quite rare from Sam Taylor on Friday night. And then, yeah, Jamie Elliott had that chance to could potentially seal it. 7-point game. Jesse Hogan goes back, kicks the goal, and it was a shoulda, woulda, coulda moment I felt for the Giants. They had the opportunity with Toby Green to put them in front. His check side kick, well, it could have been rushed through for a point at least to tie the scores, but Collingwood, they always just close games out so well. You know, when they're needing to hold on by a margin with 3 or 4 minutes to play, they're just so strong around the footy. They set up really well in defence. And yeah, you know, that fourth quarter, I felt Collingwood's defence won them the game, pure and simple. Darcy Moore, 𝐼𝐻𝐿, like I said, very good in the air. You know, Murphy had some great moments. And yeah, they were just able to really transition the ball well, off intercepts throughout the game. But yeah, the fourth quarter, they really stood up. As I said again at the start of the video, or start of this game, just relentless in defence. This is the thing. This is what I think will really win the flag for the Pies. They rebound so well. They were damaging again off that. Good off the turnover. They made the Giants pay throughout the third term with a few of those iffy mistakes. Their foot skills really dropped off in the third quarter, the Giants. And especially, you know, just relentless defensively, rebound. Those are the two things that really caught my eye for the Pies. So it gives them every chance to win the flag. And yeah, just a really even game of football. Either team really could have won this game, but I just think it was down to maybe just that home crowd advantage of the Pies really carrying them over the line. Really could have gone either way. And this is how finals football is. Sometimes it's just a game based off slim margins. This is a game of moments. What happens if 𝐓𝐡𝐞 didn't take that contested mark? What happens if this player X didn't fall over? What happens if Sam Taylor didn't lose that one-on-one? It's just what happened in the end. Toby Green could have kicked the winner potentially as well. But yeah, of course, Collingwood deserving winners. I did back them in for the tip just because I purely felt with that home crowd advantage, they get them over the line. But yeah, just a brilliant game of football this was. Really even game, but the Pies just edging it over the Giants by 1 point. Some players I really love. Jordan 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐿. Well, you know, these are the games where he earns his paycheck. He was huge. No one could tackle 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐿. His game really grew as the game went on, just bursting through packs. They're able to get a bit of dominance in that third quarter in the centre clearances. The Pies are able to work it off that. You know, Coniglio and Kelly and Green, a few of those midfielders were a bit quiet in the third term as well. And the Pies are able to win that midfield battle and transition that into a bit of scoreboard pressure. You know, Nick Dacos with 28 touches. Great to see him back on return. You know, the likes of Sidebottom. He had a few mistakes, gave away that goal. 50-metre penalty, obviously, from Hogan. And then, yeah, but yeah, I still felt like he had some nice touches. Mitchell's game, I felt, was really good too. But the big players that I did really like, though, still from the Pies that were, in my opinion, underrated. You know, Jack Crisp, very underrated player. I felt he played his role superbly well. Darcy Cameron had some important contested marks. You know, Maynard was really good in the fourth term. Darcy Moore, you know, their defence really, as a back six, stood up in that fourth term when the moments did matter. But yeah, you know, nothing but admiration for the losers of the Giants. What a year of footy they've had. You know, people had them for the wooden spoon. I them, you know, for the wooden spoon as well. But the second half of the year they've had was brilliant. 1 point off the grand final under the new coach of 𝐓𝐡𝐞. Again, had the chances to win it, but yeah, just that third quarter fade out probably did hurt them in the end. And yeah, they sort of... Yeah, they weren't too great inside 50. They were wasting their chances, especially in that fourth term, just bombing it long. They lost a bit of touch with their, you know, good ball movement, their good, you know, poise inside 50. So it probably did hurt them in that regard in the end. But they'll gain plenty of experience off this. But yeah, deserving winners of the Pies, relentless around the footy. I just absolutely love their passion and a deserving win for them. Through the grand final by a solitary point. As we now move on to the second preliminary final, the Lions getting the win over the Blues by 16 points. Just finished streaming this game, and well, what have I said so many times about Brisbane this year? They've won the Gabba. The reason why they've won every single game of the Gabba is even with games where they've been challenged. You've had a few games like, of course, the Geelong earlier this year. There's been a few teams that have been able to push them. Just their forward half class and the professionalism of that football club. Whenever they've been challenged, whenever they've been put under the pump, they've just collectively as a midfield and as a forward half, they've just always been able to turn games on their head, put on a score and just demolish the opposition with scoreboard pressure, or at least hold out opponents. We've seen that with a lot of games this year, and it was a perfect example tonight with Carlton starting the game like a house on fire. They flicked the switch after quarter time. They all of a sudden really get on top of the midfield. They seem to really outrun Carlton's midfield as well. Just a classier side really in general in the midfield, especially especially, got on top of the stoppage game. The centre clearances they dominated, and they were minus 11 inside 50s at quarter time. They ended up winning that by 12. They were able to get so many repeated entries, the forward half intercepts, the turnover game, the transition off the intercepts. Those are just areas where the Lions get a lot of their points from, and it was a masterclass. We just saw a lot of that happen, and honestly, they probably should have won this game more by 16 points. They kept pretty much Carlton goalless for a whole second half. They did kick those 2 goals in a row, the Blues, to make it a bit of a chance, and a bit of a junk time goal from Martin, but it was such an impressive performance after quarter time from Brisbane. I feel like maybe that's an underappreciated thing when you look at the win from the Lions, because it was impressive, and the few players that really turned it around after quarter time, a player that I love, my man on the channel, I love this player, 𝐓𝐶𝐞 𝐎𝐥𝐿, one of his best games in a Lions Guernsey, 21 touches he had. The Lions actually had a lot of low possession getters. Like, their highest was Jarryd Berry with 24. But, I just felt their ability, the Lions, to cut apart, especially the Gabba, they don't need much disposals, but they just cut apart opposition when moving the footy with a bit of haste, when transitioning the footy. 𝐓𝐶𝐞 𝐎𝐿 was able to do that in the second term. Pick apart opponents inside 50 and in their forward half, and they were just moving it much better. When they get the game on their terms, when they play with a bit more confidence, as you could see, the game was starting to build and closing the margin of the Lions in that second term. They play with confidence, and they just look unstoppable. They were able to punish the Blues off turnover. They lost their touch in the midfield, Carlton, from that second half onwards, and their foot skills really were underwhelming too. I think how they went in their forward half was a bit disappointing. As a back six, they really stood up. Massive credit to Gardner. He came in the side, his third game, I think, this season. He did a really good job on 𝐬𝐿𝐴 𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐾. He kept him to 1 goal. He was really quiet. Lest had a great game too, and it just allowed Harris Andrews to do his thing. He had some great intercepts. They were great coming out of their back half, but yeah, just the turnover game were damaging after quarter time. The classier side, Brisbane, and deserving winners by 16 points. But yeah, we obviously shift over to the Carlton's attention. Well, I did want to give them every chance for this game, but just in the end, I just couldn't see them putting away the Lions. But hey, that first quarter, I'll put my hands up. They can just prove me wrong with how good they played that first term. Just came out of the gates absolutely firing. They were just putting, they absolutely shell-shocked that Brisbane midfield. Their pressure was elite, just every time a Lions player got the ball, bang, instantly tackled. Their defence as well, very underrated aspect of how they've been able to get so far to a prelim final. They set up really well behind the footy during that first term. They locked it in their forward half. They got repeated entries. They were kicking goals. Got up to a brilliant start. A 5-goal to 1-goal first quarter. But I think the question was, were they able to withstand that? I think the biggest question for Carlton to win this game was a lot of people didn't tip them because a lot of people were just saying they don't have the legs to run out Brisbane, and let's be honest, that's probably what it was in the end. If you're a Carlton fan, you're probably obviously still very proud, but it really was a disappointment after quarter time. They just seemed to get outclassed by Brisbane, and they were just able to really kick away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unanswered goals between the second quarter and the fourth quarter. Really, they just kept them goalless. They were so strong defensively as a back six, Brisbane, just so many credit to some great plays. But as I say again earlier on, they've just been challenged this year, Brisbane, and I think the biggest improvement from last year is when the game has gone against their terms, usually from the past years, they just seem to really fall flat. And it looked like it was happening at quarter time. But as I say, they've just been able to, get back on the horse and just as a group really get on top in areas such as the clearances. Centre clearances they really lifted. Their forward half class was very good too. They started to get winners at half forward. Zach Bailey, Lincoln McCarthy bobbing up with a bit of magic. McCluggage really lifted after quarter time too. And it was just a complete team performance. Connor McKenna was huge. A lot of players from the half back line was really good. McKenna and of course Coleman I did really love. But yeah, so much to like after quarter time with that win from Brisbane. It wasn't a complete masterclass. It was still a scrappy game. You knew the Blues were going to come home strong. It was a free hit for them almost. They could have gone down by 8 goals, but as long as they had a red hot crack, they would have been proud of their supporters. But yeah, I just think from the bigger picture, the Lions just the more classier team I think on paper, and they deserve to knock off the Blues. And honestly, again, could have won by more. So deserved grand final star Brisbane. The past few years they've obviously not made it, but finally make the grand final, monkey off the back. They finally do well in a final series. 2 finals wins in 2023 and off to the grand final. And also, might I say, probably one of the best players on ground, I don't think I've talked about him yet, Lachie Neale, after quarter time, just sensational. You know, his ability in the stoppage was just ultra clean. He was just providing his masterclass, so clean in and under. He's getting those hand passes out. Only had something around less than 25 touches, but his impact was huge. He was making some great tackles. He was just, everything he was doing was clean. He was able to get the ball forward into advantageous positions, but yeah, just his stoppage work was, I felt, the big factor in why Brisbane were able to really lift after quarter time. But yeah, I looked to like Lincoln McCarthy's game. I really liked. Dunkley was good, but yeah, you know, I've almost talked about every Lions play. They were just awesome tonight after quarter time, able to flick that switch, really show their class just in the dominance around the footy. The forward half got to work, and you know, you just sit back and relax and just look at them go. You know, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, I think, come grand final week. The Pies and the Lions both through to a grand final. Brisbane deserving winners over Carlton by 16 points. So everyone, there was another episode of the Good, Bad and Ugly, or Round Review, whatever you bloody want to call it. After, pretty entertaining another week of finals. Week 3 it was, 2 deserving grand final winners. You know, Brisbane and Collingwood all year have been the best teams, let's be honest. So I think it's, as a neutral, I am pretty happy. These are both sides that truly deserve a grand final spot. So it's going to be a ripper next Saturday. Of course, going to be streaming the grand final. So make sure to stay tuned to the channel if you want to come by and say hi and listen to my commentary and me banter and me nothingness, if you do want to. But yeah, really keen for this matchup between Brisbane and Collingwood. I think both teams played overall pretty well to deserve a spot to be in the grand final. So it's going to be interesting come Saturday. But yeah, hopefully you did enjoy this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you did go on to enjoy. Also, feel free to comment down below and let me know what you did think of the round and a few of the teams. I mean, if you're a Carlton fan, if you're a Giants fan, you'd feel I was so proud. Some pretty gallant defeats they have had across the weekend, and some great seasons I've had. But yeah, Brisbane, Collingwood, deserving grand finalists. And yeah, that's it from me, everyone. Take care, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and yeah, apart from that, I will talk to you later. See you later, fellas.